Jet lag is a temporary sleep disorder that occurs when we travel across time zones. Basically, our internal body clock gets thrown entirely out of whack, and we suffer side effects such as fatigue, difficulty sleeping, headaches, and even poor digestion. But what if I told you there was a simple 4-step formula that could help you avoid jet lag entirely? So if you want to know how you can avoid jet lag on your next trip, keep watching. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kate. I'm a certified health and nutrition coach. I post videos here on YouTube twice a week talking all things insulin resistance, weight loss, sleep, and more. So if you're ready to take control of your metabolic health, make sure to click that subscribe button. And you can also find me on TikTok and Instagram, where I share new posts every single day. So if you've been around my channel for a while, you probably know, or maybe you don't know, that I'm actually from Canada, but I live in Australia. And the time difference between these two places could not be bigger. Here in Adelaide, where I currently live, the time is 13 and a half hours ahead of Toronto, where I'm from, give or take an hour for daylight savings. So traveling between these two places can cause a lot of jet lag if I don't prepare properly. But thankfully, I've been able to refine a 4-step process that pretty much guarantees I won't suffer jet lag when I arrive, and if I do, the side effects are going to be minimal. But with all that being said, let's get straight into it. Now, the 4 steps we're going to talk about today are centered around syncing our circadian rhythm with the new time zone. There are cues that our body takes to set our internal clock. And the sooner we can shift these cues from our old time zone to our new one, the faster we're going to get over jet lag. So number 1 is to plan your last meal. The time that you have your last meal before your flight is critical. I want you to look at the time your flight takes off and what time that's going to be in your destination country, and plan your last meal at a time that would be a meal time where you're going. Now, this can be a little bit tricky depending on how far you're going. For example, I think the last time I left Toronto, my flight was at 6 p.m., which was 7:30 a.m. Adelaide time. So I didn't really want to eat right before my flight because I wouldn't normally be eating at 6 a.m. if I was in Adelaide. So I ate my last meal mid-morning Toronto time, which would loosely be about dinner time in Adelaide, and I fasted for the rest of the day. Now, this will be obviously a bit easier to manage and figure out if you're not traveling as far as I usually am, and if the time zones are a little bit closer together. But that brings us into step number 2, which is to fast. Now, from here you have 2 options. The first option is to fast for the duration of your flight. So this means don't eat anything and only drink water, coffee, and unsweetened tea. If you can manage to fast for the entire duration of your flight, you're gonna feel a whole lot better when you come out the other side. But if you don't have much experience with fasting, and if this option seems a little bit overwhelming, the other option would be to continue syncing your meals with your destination time zone. Figure out what time at your destination you would be having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and only eat at those times. Now, of course, you want to try to avoid eating the airplane food. Pack some meals if you can and eat those instead. Or choose better options when you're at the airport and at your stopovers. If you have enough time, it's worthwhile to go to an actual sit-down restaurant and order some form of protein and vegetables. Steak, chicken, fish, all good options. Even grabbing something like a Cobb salad that's low in carbs and higher in protein and fat is going to be a better option than eating the standard airplane food. But again, it's all about getting our circadian rhythm in sync with the new time zone. And the time we eat is a big indicator for our internal clock. It signals to our body what time of day it is. There's a big reason why we don't wake up in the middle of the night absolutely starving. Our bodies know this is the time when we're sleeping. And if this does happen to you, if you are hungry in the middle of the night, this is a pretty big indicator that your circadian rhythm is out of whack. And if it's not your circadian rhythm, it can also be a sign of blood sugar dysregulation. But that's a topic for another day. Step number 3 is to manage your light exposure. Okay, and this is arguably the most important step because just like the time of day that we eat, light is a key indicator for our circadian rhythm. When we are exposed to light during the day, ideally natural sunlight, this signals our bodies it's daytime, and hormones that keep us energized and alert are released, such as cortisol. And when we're exposed to less light after sunset, this signals our bodies that it's nighttime, and hormones that help us sleep are released, such as melatonin. So again, you want to look at what time it is at your destination and go off of that. If it's 6 p.m. or later at your destination, you want to limit your light exposure as much as possible, and blue light specifically. The best way to do this is with a pair of blue light blocking glasses. When you're wearing these, your eyes are shielded from blue light, and this is going to help to sync your circadian rhythm more than anything else. Now, I've had these glasses for probably 3 or 4 years now. These are from a brand called Bon Charge, and I will put the link to check them out in the description box down below, along with a promo code. And I know you might feel silly wearing these, but honestly, who cares? Trust me, looking a little bit silly is well worth it to avoid jet lag. So anytime you're awake after 6 p.m. in your destination time zone, wear these. And that's going to bring us into our final step, which is number 4, stay awake. Stay awake until it would be your normal bedtime at your destination. If you go to sleep too early in your journey, you're gonna have trouble falling asleep the first night when you arrive. Now again, depending on how far you're traveling, sometimes this is gonna be easier to do than other times. When I'm flying back to Adelaide from Toronto, as I mentioned earlier, the flight usually takes off in the evening, which is the morning in Adelaide. So I really try to stay awake as long as possible into my journey. And then once it gets to around 6 p.m. Adelaide time, I put on my blue light blocking glasses and I start doing things I normally would do to wind down, aka not eating, maybe doing some reading, taking a magnesium supplement, having a tea, doing a meditation, and then I try to go to sleep. Again, sometimes this is easier to do than other times, but if I've kept myself awake for as long as I usually have on this particular trip, I usually fall asleep pretty easily. Now, I want to make a quick note about melatonin supplements. I generally do not recommend people take them. As mentioned earlier, melatonin is a hormone and it helps us to feel sleepy. But the thing is, when we take it as a supplement too frequently, our bodies stop producing it altogether. So then when we stop taking it, we're really screwed. However, there are certain times I think that a melatonin supplement can be okay. And when you're trying to beat jet lag is one of those times. So if you're having trouble falling asleep in this particular situation, then a melatonin supplement can be helpful. And those are the 4 steps you can take to beat jet lag. Now again, once you get to your destination, you want to get into your normal routine as quickly as possible. Eat when you normally would, exercise when you normally would, and of course, sleep when you normally would. And if you followed these steps before and during your journey, you should be able to get into a normal routine pretty easily. Now, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section down below what you do to combat jet lag. I love chatting with you guys in the comment section, so even if you just want to come and say hi, I appreciate it. Any comments help to support the video and support my channel, so thank you. And I'm also going to put the link to check out the blue light blocking glasses that I use in the description box down below. Now, if you did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video on how you can get more deep sleep. I'm gonna put the link right here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you want to check out my coaching programs, you can find those here. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.